I'm making a case. Look, we're only, a week into the season. I'm
Yeah.
making a case for Bryan Woo for Cy Young candidate. Now, he was in the mix last year, but it was kind of like a bunch of guys, and then you had Crochet, Tarek Skubal. So I got 3 ways that he could be in that conversation, D-Row, if not getting himself a Cy Young for the first time. Now,
heater.
I do want to bring up the WBC a little bit later on. That's going to play into this a little bit because, look, he was in the mix for the WBC, but I want to go back to 2025. Now, we talk about the Cy Young candidates from last year. The thing that really stands out to me with Bryan Woo, first of all, right, the sexy numbers, right? You're looking Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet. Okay, obviously they're up there close to 200 innings, but it's the strikeout rate for me when you look at Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet. Now, he was, again, a league leader up here, 27%.
Yeah.
We always talk about the hitter at the top of the strike zone. Always. That's his bread and butter. That upshoot, down here, hitter at the top of the strike zone. But the one pitch to righties that we don't talk enough about is that sweeper. It is nasty. Now, I want to roll the tape here. This pitch is absolutely filthy. This is a pitch, I think, in my opinion, we saw a couple more of that first start that he had, the first start of 2026, starting to unleash his pitch a little bit more. As the year went on last year, the strikeout rate went up because the sweeper usage went up. And if you look, this is nuts too. This is what stands out to me. Now, we're talking elite level, 45.8% on the sweeper. So again, look, nothing against the hitter. We're going to get into that against lefties here in a second.
2 elite pitches.
Elite pitches, and we just don't talk enough about it. Now, if you look at last year, the beginning of the season, it was just a little inconsistent. That pitch, a kind of cement mix out over the middle of the plate. As the season went on, man, he got really confident throwing that pitch. I think we're just going to see it more. If you can get that, you're talking the 27. Just hold the tape for one second.
I mean, good.
Hold this tape for 1 second.
That's we're getting the 97, by the way.
Sinker, right? Yeah. Now, we're talking in regards to getting that 27% strikeout rate to 32, righties, sweeper, to lefties. This is what we broke down last year, if you remember. This was the difference. He mastered this pitch. Now, it's not just the sinker, right? It's not just, four seam at the top of the zone sinker. It's where he executed this pitch. Watch the pattern right here against lefties. This is that front hip sinker into the hip and then just rips back out over the plate. So roll this tape. I'm just going to show you a rip of these pitches. Absolutely nasty against lefties. Starting in the middle half of the plate. Again, he had this pitch in 2024, but it's how he executed that pitch. Everything's, look where Cal's setting up. This is just some unhittable stuff. Now, just hold this for 1 second. So the sinker here, this is 2024. And you can see it's
kind of bleeding over the middle of the plate occasionally.
Down and away. Didn't have the changeup. Down and away. A lot of middle, right? And this isn't, by the way, not with 2 strikes. This is overall. And then all of a sudden you start to see it getting heavy on this side of the plate.
Yes.
He absolutely mastered that pitch to lefties. So to the righties, for me, the sweeper usage is going to go up. Lefties, he's going to absolutely own this part of the plate. Nothing you can really do about it. And I think they're the 2 ways he's going to get that high percentage of strikeouts to go along with the efficiency and everything else well he does. The last point, and this involves you, by the way.
Okay.
You got the World Baseball Classic.
I called him.
Right, you called him. He was in the mix.
Multiple conversations with him.
And he was in the mix.
Like stuff, you feel like in that environment, and you saw it, the offenses, runs are at a premium, stuff plays.
Yeah.
You start rushing it north of 96, 97.
Right.
It's a tough time giving
Breakout year, heater up here, sinker into lefties, sweeper more used.
Thought we had him too, Ryan. we had a yes from him for a long time.
Well, this is my last piece of the puzzle with Bryan Woo. Now, I want to go back to a start. Just hold on with the tape for a second. At the end of last year, when you know this, when you're going well and you raise the bar, he's going 6+ innings every time, right? The workload starts to go up. Every 5th day, you're expecting a guy who went from 140 innings last year, pushing 200 innings. It started to catch up to him a little bit. It started to get a little bit fatigued. I want to go back to this start. This was in Houston. They go into Houston for the first time the Mariners have a chance to win the AL West since 2001. You can roll the tape. Who's number 1 on the mound? Number 1 on Friday night? It's Bryan Woo. Big game. He absolutely dominated. Looked really good. Punching tickets. Sweeper, by the way, at the end of the year. Look at this. I mean, sweeper to these righties, absolutely nasty.
I mean, what swings on sweepers that are 2 feet outside.
But what happened after the 5th inning? Now, this was
oblique.
This was heartbreaking. No, it was a peck injury. To me, at the end of August, once he got to the end of August, man, he was getting ridden pretty hard. Comes out of the game after the 5th inning. The Mariners lose him for that postseason. They had a deep run, but they lost him for that postseason, and I think this hit him hard. Now, again, going back to the World Baseball Classic coming into 2026, look, he's on a mission. 6 months, 200 innings worth of pitching, all the efficiency to go along with everything else he's been working on. The last piece of the puzzle to me is health. And again, you look at this, 6+ innings, 28. Insane. That's a hefty workload right here. So if you're going to try and keep this pace up where you're going 6+, up and down, 6+ innings, and you want to try and match something like that with all that efficiency as well, I'm telling you, man, you have to have that offseason where you come in, you're healthy 6 months, have to skip the WBC, I hate to say it. But a situation here where, man, I think if he can...
I tried to draw on the heartstrings. Like, he wasn't a big prospect coming out of college and through the minors, so I knew it'd be important to him, but this stuff is just... Yeah. And when I talked to Cal early on in the process, he's like, don't be afraid to try and get this animal on the team as well. So.